They want transgender for everybody, everybody transgender.
Honestly, I was just thinking about New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the whole time I was trying to think about the difference between if you have a White House that is working towards an affordability agenda or one that's making it harder to live in the city.
Yeah.
That's kind of what kept.
Do you feel like as if the president sees your popularity? You know, he loves the ratings. Ton of reporters. He sees it. He's, I think, handsome. I think he thought handsome. Did you ever eyes up here, Mr. President? You were elected because you were trusted on your policies for affordability. Do you think he's maybe a little bit trying to like swagger Jack a little bit?
You know, I actually think there are a lot of places of disagreement with the president. I think one of the things that was remarkable to me is I told him that, our campaign started on October 23rd of last year, but the moment when a lot of people, or not a lot of people, some people started paying attention was after he won the presidency. We did the video on Fordham Road, Hillside Avenue. Yeah. We talked to Trump voters and we asked them why they voted for him. And it just went back to cost of living and it went back to cheaper groceries. Yeah. And that was a lot of our campaign.
Well. The new mayor of New York. See, I like this dude, but I think when he promised all the things he promised, he didn't realize he couldn't make it happen. And so he's doing a lot of different things to try to make it happen, which clap it up for him. The only problem is the people that got him the position of mayor are not happy with the strategies that he's implementing to get said policies pushed through. And they're really not happy that he's not moving against the established Democrats. Roll the clip.
Because it doesn't matter what policy program a politician is putting forward. If they're attached to the Democratic Party, that means they're controlled by the party of empire, the party of the American political establishment.
If you actually want to criticize Zohran Mamdani about anything, criticize him about his decision to back Hakeem Jeffries in his re-election run, because that is genuinely unjustifiable. Hakeem Jeffries is likely in the weakest political position he will ever be in for his career. He is incredibly unpopular. And there is a ton of momentum coming off of Zohran's win to replace a lot of these establishment Democrats in New York. Thousands of people joined the DSA in New York just for the promise of this kind of Tea Party movement within the Democratic Party. Not to mention, the DSA clearly needs work with improving their standing among Black voters across the country. And Chi Osei, who is supposed to be Jeffries' opposition, could have gone a long way in helping to fix that.
Straight up. Not supporting Chi, and then going to the DSA meeting to say that DSA shouldn't support Chi Osei's campaign is not a good move. And he succeeded in making sure that the DSA that Chi Osei could not feel.
So they don't want to remove Hakeem. Him and Mrs. Alex. I forgot her whole name. They call her AOC. They don't want her Hakeem removed because they feel like they need these established Democrats. They feel like they need them. But he goes on an interview, Zohran, and he gets questioned on a few things, right?
Your meeting, Mayor-elect Mamdani, that President Trump will not send troops into New York.
I told the president that the cornerstone of an affordability agenda is public safety, and that it is critically important to me. And for all that has been said and all that has been spoken about, and the tens of millions of dollars looking to make New Yorkers fearful of that question, the truth of it is, in fact, that I'm looking forward to working with the NYPD to deliver on that. And I shared with the president that my decision to retain Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch is in large part a recognition of the fact that in her time leading the NYPD, she has driven down crime across the 5 boroughs while starting to uproot corruption that was endemic in the top echelons of that department under Mayor Adams.
And I'm going to follow up with you on your decision to keep Commissioner Tisch. But to this core question that I think so many New Yorkers are curious to know the answer to, What did President Trump say to you? Did he assure you he will not send troops into New York?
He told me that he cared deeply about public safety. I said I cared
But did
deeply
he
about
say he
the
wouldn't
same.
send troops?
What I told him is that what
He didn't get any promises from Trump. Now that he's, in the game, right? He is executing the best word salad you can ever, because he's not saying anything. Like, she's asking him a direct question, and he's just not going to give her a direct answer. Oh, politics are so funny, man.
separates New York City from anywhere else in the country is we have the NYPD. And I trust the NYPD to deliver public safety. And to me, that is something that I know that they can do, that they have done, and they will continue to do under. That's the thing that I think is important in our politics, is that we don't shy away from where we have disagreements, but we understand what it is that brings us to that table. Because I'm not coming into the Oval Office to make a point or make a stand. I'm coming in there to deliver for New Yorkers. And a few weeks ago, I was asked by a reporter 3 words to describe myself. I said, New York City. And that's what animated that conversation. How do we deliver for the people of New York City?
I think that some of your supporters would be curious to know, you say you stand by your past statements that, yes, he's a threat to the democracy. How do you square working with someone who you still think is a threat to the democracy?
Because he's the president of the United States.
What? That's the easy answer. He's the president.
And Zohran is the mayor, right? He's not the governor. He is the mayor. And so in order for him to get a lot of these bold ideas through, he needs resources. That guess who can give him the resources? The president, right? And he also has to talk to, the governor, because the governor, she says she's not raising the taxes. She's not raising, because it would kill her. Like, you raise the taxes, they can go right over to Philly, right? Because Philly's not that close, not that far from New York. Or it'll just go to the South.
I think working for the people of New York City demands that you work with everyone and anyone, and that you always look to find those areas of agreement while not overlooking the places of disagreement. And I think this was something that came up in our meeting. We spoke about immigration. We spoke about the fact that in New York City, we have sanctuary city policies that allow for the city to work with the federal government on around 170 serious crimes. The concern for so many New Yorkers comes about anything beyond that.
This show.
And that's the thing that I think is important.
So, the people that elected him did not like he went to the White House, right? They didn't like it. They don't like that he's moving to remove, Hakeem. I think Chuck is pretty much gone, right? Whenever it's time to re-up, I think they'll get rid of him. But they're giving them a lot of trouble, man. Like, he shouldn't have said all the things he said, because he knew he couldn't do all those things. But now that he's trying to make these things happen, they give him a lot of pushback. Just a lot of pushback.
$9 billion in new taxes, increasing taxes on the wealthy, on businesses, in order to fund your key policies like universal child care, which you mentioned. You would need Governor Kathy Hochul to be on board with this. You'd need her signature. She has never publicly committed to increasing taxes. I know you just spoke.
She's not going either. She's not going. Don't hold your breath. And in here, he's going to reveal, using his word salad, that they're going to have to find alternative methods to get that money.
With her, Mr. Mayor-elect, did Governor Hochul commit to you that she will support and sign on to your plan to increase taxes?
The governor and I had a productive conversation, and what we both committed to is working together for the affordability agenda.
Your entire agenda is incredibly ambitious: universal child care, free buses, among other things, lowering rent. Can you deliver on this agenda without Governor Hochul agreeing to increase taxes.
Well, I'm thankful that I'm not going to have to engage in the hypothetical because I am confident of the two of us working together to deliver on this agenda and ensure that finally, and this goes back to just that portrait of FDR, we look at what politics has been in the past. It has been there in the moments of such transformation, meeting the scale of the crisis. We can do that again.
So just yes or no, you think she'll raise taxes?
I think she'll work with me to.
Nah, she know good and well you wouldn't gonna get no yes or no. I don't know why he hasn't gave you a straight answer. Well, actually, he did. He did. The only straight answer he gave her was that he wants Hakeem to still be Speaker of the That's the only dude. That's the only answer. It was a straight yes. All right. And so we don't go into like, is these things possible and feasible? Right. So they're gonna do a little breakdown because a lot of the things he said is insane. But the one thing we're gonna get on to is the free buses. Because if you know New York City, that don't make no sense.
Elect Zohran Mamdani has promised big things for the Big Apple, but can he follow through?
If you had free buses, you'd be able to board and disembark from any one of the doors on that bus. Governor Hochul and I share a commitment to universal childcare.
Along with free buses and childcare, Mamdani has promised to raise the minimum wage, open government grocery stores, and more. But those plans would cost billions of dollars. And getting that money is where Mamdani could run into some issues, because it's not entirely up to him.
In reality, if he had wanted to accomplish some of these big picture items, he would have had to run for governor. What he wants to do for New York City mostly requires both the approval of the governor and the state legislature.
Mamdani's plan to raise that money is to increase the top corporate tax rate and levy a tax increase on people making over $1 million a year. But any changes to the tax rates would require approval from state lawmakers and Governor Kathy Hochul.
He wants the state legislature and the governor to enact $9 billion worth of annual taxes. Without those tax hikes, he can't implement his program, his universal child care, his Department of Community Safety, a couple other big ticket free buses. He can't do those things without that state revenue. So the governor and the legislature would have to consider, is this a risk that we want to take with the state's tax base?
Mamdani does have some support from the state legislature, but Governor Hochul has signaled she's not inclined to raise taxes. Hochul has also pumped the brakes on the free bus plan. City buses are actually controlled by a state agency.
It would be the governor who would have to give the green light to her MTA chairperson to say, okay, we can do free buses, and also the state would have to come up with this $700-800 million in funding from fare revenue that would be lost.
And that's not the only issue on the free bus plan.
Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, would they?
So this is where, this is where it gets crazy. So all the other cities would want free transportation too. Did he think about that? Maybe he did. Maybe he has a plan for that too. They just haven't asked him question. But all the other cities will want free transportation.
They also want their own free bus system. So there's more to think about than just, okay, the New York City buses can be free. You're kind of opening the door to an entirely free transit system, because the same arguments that poor people take the bus, that also holds for the rest of the state's transit systems.
Mamdani also has to deal with the New York Financial Control Board. That board started back in 1975 when the city nearly went bankrupt.
We just increased spending much faster than the tax revenues came in. By the 1970s, we were starting to have a cratering tax base as we saw flight to the suburbs, major corporations leaving New York City for the suburbs and for southern states. So we just ran out of money.
Whoa. I think y'all missed what she just said. So we're going to run it back one more time, because Zohran don't think fat meat is greasy. So we're going to go over it one more time, because I think y'all missed this. This is very important. People are saying this and they think it's a joke, but it's happened before.
Much faster than the tax revenues came in. By the 1970s, we were starting to have a cratering tax base as we saw flight to the suburbs, major corporations leaving New York City for the suburbs and for southern states. So we just ran out of money.
That board still exists, but mostly just to make sure the city presents a balanced budget every year. So will Mamdani really be able to keep his big promises?
Realistic view is that he purposely asked for a lot more than he knew that he was going to get. So just go out and ask for a wild $9 billion figure, and then he would say that he's happy with getting half of that, a $4 or $5 billion tax increase.
While many have painted Mamdani as a socialist, Zelena said the one idea Mamdani has not floated is the one thing that most resembles true socialism.
He could have run on raising the property tax.
I'm pausing because when you own property, that is like, I don't have a lot of complaints being American. Okay, I don't. I love being American. I love America. But when I hear raising property tax, when I hear raising property tax, I'm just like, yo, like, as an American, we get taxed for what we eat. We get taxed for what we buy. We get taxed on our car. We get taxes on our paycheck. We get taxed all day. If you think about you leaving your house, as soon as you do anything, there is some sort of tax. But all those taxes are relatively small. Property tax is the biggest amounts of money you will pay. Now, it's only once or twice a year, but still, like, can we just not squeeze down on the working class? Because we would like to own homes and retain homes. Retain our homes, and if you raise a property tax, you're making it harder for the working people. I know they don't care because they're politicians and politicians don't care about working people, but I'm just saying, as a working person, I want to maintain my home. And if you raise my property tax, you make it harder. So much harder.
Property tax in New York City is the only tax that the city can raise by itself. Mamdani would only need permission of the city council, not the state legislature or the governor. And that would be closer to a traditional view of socialism, where everybody pays more, but everybody gets more benefits. But that was not the platform that he ran on. He ran explicitly on redistribution from wealthier earners and from businesses, and for that, he does need the state.
I'm gonna pray. We're gonna pray for New York, man. We're gonna pray for New York. Like, New York is already high. Imagine you owning a home in New York, right? Let's say your property tax is $7,000, right? Just say it's $7,000. Like, imagine it going up another like $800-900 because of this goofy dude. Like, bruh, this is, man. And I pray that y'all don't have an HOA, right? Because it can even get even nastier, bro. Like, I keep saying all the time, socialism is bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm a capitalist. Okay? that man, fuck. It's gonna benefit everyone. No, it's not gonna benefit the working people that we're already getting taxed on everything we do in America. Anyway, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. CJ, I'm out.